we've signed a bill against hate. It's like,
like what the hell?
How the fuck is that going to change somebody who hates Asian people?
I know. That's not going to help
there's
anybody.
a bill now, so I better stop. Sell my guns.
Yeah.
Like,
is it even a law? Is it even?
What the
It's
fuck?
just a bill. Yeah.
It's just a bill. Just a Capitol bill, or lonely on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, that video.
Yeah, man. But I agree with you, man. Like, people should be able to speak. I want to speak, but
yeah. My U.S. government teacher in high school said she's like a teacher, like AP U.S. teacher, right? And she said to us on the first day of class, all politicians are liars. Like that's what she started with. She started with that. She doesn't believe in any of them. Like whatever they say, like just believe that they're lying to you because that's what they do. Yeah,
that's funny. She's like,
that was like in a fucking like an AP class. She said that, so I was like, okay.
Man. And she's like, I'm a liar. You all are liars. My ex-husband's a liar.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 714 podcast. Today I have a special guest here, Neel. How's it going, man?
Yo, good, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here. 714. That's your zip code, right?
That's the area code, actually, like of Orange County.
Oh, yeah, duh. Not yet. Yeah, zip code.
Zip code.
Oh, my gosh. That's embarrassing. Just start off the top. Oh, God. Yes, your area code.
Yeah.
Word. Okay, yeah, Orange County, 714. Yeah, good to be here, man.
Yes, sir. We were talking about just like the area code and shit, but yeah, the reason I just found that name just cause like I had no name for this podcast, literally no name. All I wanted to do was just like make a podcast because I thought it was like a fun thing to do. Sure. And I was like, there's no fucking name for this. And I just thought of 714 just cause, yeah.
Tried and true, man. Like if you rep an area code, people from like 404 in Atlanta, 213, I feel like it's like, you can go anywhere with that area code.
Yeah.
So that's a wise decision. Is this like, did you start this podcast during pandemic as well?
No, I started it before, I think 2019, summer of 2019. You started a podcast too, right?
Yeah, we started ours in pandemic kind of out of necessity because me and another stand-up friend of mine, Jonas President, who's the co-host of our podcast, and Alan Santiago, who's another comedian, we were all just like, everything live went away. We're like, well, just get together. And like the hardest part was the name. Like we were trying to figure out like, what's catchy, like what kind of works with the vibe that we want to give off, which is like welcoming and like warm.
Yeah.
So we landed on Papaya 9. That's the name of our podcast, Papaya 9 Podcast.
Yeah. I've listened to it a few times actually too. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's it's honestly been just a great way to get together and fuck around.
I know. That's all it is. Like the main reason for even starting my podcast, like at first I didn't even think I was going to do one online podcast because I thought it was like boring to have a Zoom call. And of course it's not as good as in person or anything.
For sure.
Yeah. But right when I started doing it, I was in love, just like, cause I just had all my friends there and then we just like talked. Dude. Yeah, it was
exactly. Crazy. It's a great way to just hang out and, yeah, man. And we have like a loose structure, which I'm sure you do too for your show. Yeah. It's like, we talk about like news stories and like, we do that, but we often go far off and like, it's just, we're just chopping up with your friends. And
yeah, that's the fun part about it, I think, is for me personally, I don't want to only talk about like one specific thing. Like I know there's sports podcasts and like they have their own niche in it, but for me, if I do that, like if I say I only want to talk about basketball or sports, and I think I would run out of topics like super easily, and I would be repeating the same shit the whole time. So I want to that's why I have like I have professors on this podcast. I have my friends on this podcast. I have
Nice.
a bunch of different people just because I'm interested in it. Like I'm interested in learning, and
Right.
the curiosity just comes from being who I am. And
Yeah.
I love talking to people. I never
That's
knew
great.
that, but starting this podcast actually helped me realize that. And it's actually like more of a skill too. Now that I realized that, when you talk normally to like your friends and shit, you're talking in a different way, right?
Yeah.
And when you're in a podcast, and especially when you're talking to guests or professors, like you gotta actively listen to people. That's like the biggest thing that I've learned.
That's actually, I have a improv background, and that's like the main rule. And I think the main benefit to doing improv is like present and active listening.
Yeah.
And that it just creates so much more, like, you're doing a dance with somebody else then at that point. And it's really, that's such a great thing to take away, not only for podcasting, but I find myself like with my parents. You're Indian, right?
Yeah.
For what part of India are your parents from?
Gujarat.
Okay. Yeah. So like, my parents are Bengalis. I mean, they're probably similar in the sense that like they're kind of getting to that point now age-wise where it's just, they're just like in their thing. And like anything that's happening outside of that thing is like whatever. So I'll like try to sit there and like really like listen to the last thing said that my mom is saying about this thing that like she said 5,000 times, and like you try to riff on it. It's like, active listening is great, but it needs to be both ways too. So like when you engage, you are kind of putting faith in another person that they're engaging to. And sometimes like with parents, I've noticed, like I just got home. That's why we had to do this podcast. Today.
Yeah. I hit you up last week saying like, hey, is it this week?
Yeah, dude. Like, I was just sitting at home. I was like, wait, we got to do this. I was like, oh, wait.
That was my bad, bro. But
dude, it happens. It's summertime now too. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Just like scheduling and all that stuff.
I know.
But yeah, man, that's active listening. Like it just carries over in so many other parts of your life that's really beneficial.
Yeah, I know. Since you're a stand-up, how do you think that has helped? And I know it's probably a different learning process.
Yeah.
Just communication wise, but how has that helped you in any way? From like maybe it's eliminated some type of fear you had. Can you explain a little bit?
Well, I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. So like, how does active listening play into stand-up?
No, like doing stand-up, how has that impacted your life, or what has it improved in your life by doing stand-up?
Oh, sure, man. Yeah. That's a great question. I think being who I am and where I'm from, just like an Indian man from the Midwest in Iowa, it's like there was rarely occasions in society for like, and just my general demeanor as well, for like me to be heard in any sort of way, or like, we're talking about active listening. Like when you say something, is somebody else actively engaging? And like just something like Indian men. I think this applies to Asian men, but we'll just keep it to Indian men. For the bloggers that like it's hard to really capture somebody's attention. Like it's just weird. Like in conversation, like if you're in a conversation with a white guy, they're probably dominating the conversation. You know what I mean? Like there's just these weird, and you're trying to get a word in, and it's like, I don't know. There's something about the Indian people. Like I've noticed as an Indian person, like you're kind of sometimes put into this like ornament of the conversation. You're just kind of there.
Yeah, you're just there.
Right. Like, but like I don't want to really hear what you say. Right. So stand-up, I found, is like such a great way to just be able to have sounds horrible, but just like have the floor for a second. You know what I mean? Like, and like
nobody's interrupting you. You get to talk about whatever you want.
Right, man.
At that moment. Yeah.
Right. It's just like a really cool kind of like fulfilling feeling to have. And then you get into like the nuts and bolts of actually doing stand up, and it's like such a crazy alchemy of words and how you say words and in what way. And like you got to be present too, because there's a room full of people that you can't just orate to. You have to be there and be actively listening to them. And how do they feel? How does that rub with how you feel? And like it's just an amazing thing. And I'm
art
still
form, really, yeah.
It's an amazing art, and it's really. I'm only 4.5 years in, and like I'm just now starting to see like how fucking
I know,
bananas it is, man.
You know Joey Diaz, right? He's he said like you only get good after like 20 years after doing it, so it's crazy how much time. Like at first I've watched stand-up comedy since I was a kid, but I didn't know what it took. Like I just thought people just went up there and said some shit. Like when I was a kid, I watched George Lopez, Gabriel Iglesias, like some of those comics, and then I just thought they just talked and somebody had a camera, they recorded that shit. But as I got older, I was like, okay, people actually write down what they want. Like some comedians write down different things, they have it recorded, and they go through this set list of different jokes, and they watch the crowd reaction, see if it hits them, say it in a different way. They keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting. And that's the crazy part about it to me, is that always continuously improving on it.
Right. And it is like, it does take 20 years, you know, that 10,000 hours thing, but like plus to really get there with just words. And that's what's so great about those guys you mentioned. Like they have put in the time, because you don't see those people until they put in that amount of time. And when they get to that point, they've gotten it where it just really seems like it's they're just thinking it in that moment, when it's this performance that they've gone on the road and done hundreds of times. But
most people don't see that, like the side of them that had to bomb like 50 times to get it right this one time, and then finally get it. Like that one time that it did hit, they're like, okay, now I get it. That it's this. It's crazy.
That's like when you've been doing a joke one way for a while, and then you switch it just a little bit, and then it just hits in a completely different way. It's like that high is like that. Nothing that I've done in my life is close to that.
Really
close to that feeling, man. Like it's really something else. Are you doing stand up? Are you a student?
Yeah, I'm currently in college right now, and I just do this on the side just because I have fun doing it. Yeah,
dude. And so are you trying to do stand up?
No, not really. I just wanted
Good.
to
that's wise. That's wise.
You. Yeah,
that's wise. Man.
What made you want to do it, and what was the inspiration?
Man, I mean, the first time I did it was I was okay. So similar to you, I listened to a ton of stand-up growing up. Like my mom would buy me like Chris Rock albums and Adam Sandler albums when I was like 8-9 years old, because she didn't know that explicit content label.
Yeah.
You didn't know what that meant. So
she just got it. Like,
because I was just like, oh, I want this. I would just like point to it, and she was, she's like, all right, just give it to him. And I was listening to these guys, man. I would listen to this shit falling asleep. And it was just like, there's something very soothing about the laughter. But I never really thought like, oh, I want to do that someday. And then got a long-term girlfriend broke up with me freshman year of college. And I was like, man, this sucks. I gotta do something, man. Like, fuck. So
you were down bad.
Yeah, dude. It's funny. You're waiting for that moment for so long to just inspire you, I guess. And I don't even think I talked about the breakup in that set. I was just like, I need to do something to, make myself feel better. And I had been doing improv a little bit, so I kind of knew the muscle of like being comedic on stage, what that meant. And so from there, I just been trying to just tell the truth as I see it, trying to stay authentic. That's the hardest part, but I think the most key to like all of these legends
Yeah.
that you're mentioning, and like the people that I look up to the most, like they all always kept it authentic. So that's
because it's okay to have inspiration. I think like you could be inspired by somebody.
Yeah.
Like all these great comedians or whatever profession you're in, you could whether you're an athlete, you could be inspired. Michael Jordan right here, be inspired by him.
Yes.
But to copy them exactly for who they are, you won't benefit fully from that, because you're your own person, and it's okay to be inspired and take some things that person did or says and make it your own. And that's the best part about it. Dude, even in podcasting. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, even in podcasting, we all know Joe Rogan, and I've that was one of my biggest inspirations for doing this, was for his podcast. I loved listening to it, and just key aspects of him talking, interviewing people has gotten into me, and how he kind of orchestrates the conversation and makes the guest feel welcome, and all these different aspects where got into my kind of a style of it. But I don't do exactly what he does, but it's just the inspiration of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, to link it to the Jordan poster behind you, it's like how Kobe, was a spitting image of Michael Jordan, but then as he kept, doing his best imitation, he created his own lane. Yeah. And that's the key. I mean, I think it is very key to be inspired by somebody. I feel like there's a lot of like pressure, because there is so much art and like podcasting to take in. There's kind of a pressure to like be honed and like ready to kind of monetize as soon as possible. And like I wish there was more value in like, okay, like I see where you're starting, this is good, but like it's gonna take time and repetition and consistency. And like Rogan's podcast was on for 10 years before it became
I know
the thing that we know.
I didn't even know it existed until I think like 2018 when he had like 1,200 episodes in.
Right. So like that's crazy. But we were thinking about to just stop to take the number off of our episode things, because it's like, man, it just compared to like Rogan's at like 9,476 and we're like 24. It's like, all right, well, we should just take the numbers off. What does it matter? But yeah, man, it's important.
Repetition is also key in anything. I think the number of times you do it, especially with things you enjoy doing, I think that's the key aspect there, is once you enjoy doing something and you want to excel at it, the repetition of just doing it that many times always gets you better, even if you fail. Like I know in stand-up, people probably bomb all the time and jokes don't always land, but just getting and trying it is all there is. Like that's all you need, man. Is trying.
And what you learn from failure, it just makes you so much better the next time. Yeah. Like there's no better way to learn than fucking falling on your face and being like, well, I shouldn't do that again. Or maybe I need to do a different approach so I don't, say a thing or do a certain episode a certain way where it's like, this was bad.
Yeah.
But man, it's important. Failure is important. And how you respond to failure too. Like there's, it happens, man. Like you bomb a set early on and you're like, fuck, man, I shouldn't do this anymore. It's bad. I'm bad. It's not funny. Everybody hates me. What I do, all this shit, right? And then
do you remember like one of your worst sets that you bombed? Like,
oh yeah, man. I mean, I got
what happened?
A few. One I'm thinking of, I was at this competition in Atlanta, Laughing Skull competition, really great comedy festival. And I remember I got in my first year of doing stand-up and I was like, why? Like, I was just like, why did they take, like, I have 5 minutes, right? It used to be a competition too, where it was like, you would have multiple rounds and you would perform different sets and the different rounds, and then the highest scores. This like tournament, like the Super Smash Bros. Of Melee, like that 64 bracket. It was like that, but for comedy.
You had to compete, right?
Yeah. And so that's putting me in my head too. I'm like, this young guy, and people I'm meeting, they're like 8 years in, 10 years in, people that are now doing great things on TV and shit like that. And I remember just trying to talk to them and be like, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. So a lot of anxiety going today. And, in hindsight, it was fun. But I remember at the time being very anxious. And I had my one of my first sets, and my dad flew down. He flew down. He had a meeting or something in Atlanta. He's like, I'm going to come see you. First time seeing me. So I'm into this 5-minute sets. Only 5 minutes I've got. And I'm like halfway through, and I just black out. Fully just forget it.
Just from fear,
just forget
every emotion.
Just all of it, yeah. And I think it was like one of the later shows too. And so it just had, it had been building up. And I remember just blacking out and just saying out loud, like, I forgot my set. Just saying that. Nobody laughed. It was just like, yeah, they just kind of sat there. And this was, and I don't remember how I got back into it, but kind of clunkily got in. It was just bad, man, because there's this comedy festival called Just for Laughs. Mm-hmm. That booker was there. The Jimmy Fallon booker was there. The Live Nation guy was there. Like
everybody watching. It's like an NBA drafts, like try out.
It was the combine, right?
Yeah, the combine.
Yeah, dude. And I was just freaking like falling over bad shit, man. And that was a tough one, but it doesn't get much worse than that.
Yeah. Once you know that it's that bad, it can only get better from there.
Once you get over that, you just grow a little more callous to messing up and like getting less emotional about it and more like, all right, well, here's what went wrong. How can I think about doing my set differently? Or sometimes you're just like, all right, fuck it, man. Like I went for something. And that was kind of the good thing about doing comedy over the pandemic. Like a lot of people stopped, and whatever choice people made was like, whatever you want to do. But my friend was holding a mic in his backyard. And I was like, all right, it's outdoor. I'll keep my mask on. I still got to do comedy. And that was so great, man, because it was a time where like so few people were doing it and you were really just saying shit.
Yeah.
Because there was
just because there's really nothing else.
Shit. Like I can't even say anything, and like no one can really hold me accountable. Kind of felt like we're doing something wrong too.
Yeah.
And it's cool, man. Like I still bomb a lot. Most mics I try to bomb. Bombing means you're going for something.
Yeah.
Like I'll try to say some shit at a mic where I'm like, I know this isn't going to be good. But then you figure something out, or you don't. And then you just come back and do it again. And like, that's been the perspective as of late, man. And it's just allowed me to have more fun.
Yeah. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is just stand up is basically trying to make other people laugh. But the main thing is you should be able to laugh at whatever you're saying and man. Have fun with it.
Yeah. If people see you enjoying it, it feeds the room.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not trying to feign some sort of like, I'm so happy, everything's great. Like obviously that's not going to work. Yeah. But yeah, man, if you really are enjoying it, like people notice that. If you're really anxious, people notice that. If you're really angry, people are very observant, even in their subconscious. Like you just get a read of like the vibe. People say vibe. You can feel that right away.
Yeah, exactly. And with stand up, it's even more occurrent, because when you say something, the crowd automatically reacts to whatever you're saying. So you know the instant reaction of if this is hitting or not.
Yeah.
And you just know, and you had to work from that, because you can't get lost in what's happening. Like, so I know that probably happens a lot where somebody says a joke that doesn't land and they look at the reaction and then they forget what the next thing that they're going to say is. Yeah,
man. That reminds me of another bomb I had in Australia. Was at this brewery, and
Really?
like kind of like a coastal city, like Western Australia. Like when you think about Australia, you think about Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne. This was on the other side. This is like
I haven't even been like I don't even know
but
what
like
that is. Yeah,
it's nice, but it was kind of like it was like a suburban American town.
okay.
It was just in Australia, right? So the type of person at this brewery was a little bit older, a little bit whiter.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, man, just going up and it just bombing. It was bad. I'm looking at everybody having a bad time, and they're drinking too. Like usually it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And granted, I'm telling like ISIS jokes and shit, but
ISIS jokes.
they were not having it at all. And it wasn't like necessarily like fuck you. It was just like we don't like you. Like we're just like we just don't like watch. This is not entertaining. And even I'm commenting on how badly it's going. That's not resonating with anyone.
Yeah.
Just like 15 minutes.
They just don't care. Yeah.
They just didn't care. But it was like, dude, I shit you not, like 200, 300 people.
Really?
300 people didn't give a fuck. That's crazy, dude. I remember I was standing, outside the brewery afterwards, and a few people came up to me and were like, hey, man, good job. Mm-hmm. That was great. Where the fuck were you?
Yeah, nobody said anything.
Where were you with the laughs, man? Yeah. You just enjoyed it like golf? Like, what the fuck? What is this?
I know.
That was a weird one because people were very, very positive about it afterwards. But you are reading it, and when you're reading it, it's people just like this.
Yeah, they don't care.
And it's getting harder to get people to care, especially like things on an online meeting, right?
Yeah.
Like you post clips, your podcast is on your page.
Yeah,
great quality clips, and but think about how you are when you're on a phone. You're fucking dead. You're just fucking doing this. It's hard to capture somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the new challenge for all of us and in this world. And like,
the short attention spans are also like crazy with TikTok. That people just watch that shit for like 3 seconds. They scroll on to the next thing. Yeah. If it doesn't catch them within that time, they're off.
And then that goes back to too, man, like how people, brown faces tend to just, it's like, it's that ornament thing again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's interesting. It's fun though. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, like if you can approach this and enjoy it and have fun doing it, like,
that's all that matters. Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, curiosity. Yeah.
Are the clubs back open in LA?
Yeah, they're all open. I think all of them except for I don't think Ice House is open out in Pasadena. But yeah, I think all the other ones are open.
Yeah, that's good to hear because it's been a long time coming for comedy to come back, and also everything in LA was fucking closed. Like it seemed like nothing was gonna open back up.
Yeah, dude. Well, you were in Orange County, right? I know that was a different story.
Yeah, they don't care here. Huntington Beach, dude, they don't care at all.
Never happened in OC.
Yeah, all you gotta do is like wear a mask in the stores, and that's it. Like nobody cares, especially at the beach. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah, man, if you're at the beach, you're not gonna wear a fucking mask. Like, and why that's the interesting thing about OC and San Diego a little bit too. Is like it's kind of like Midwest city like values.
It's because I think it's more suburban and white people and I mean there's a lot of diversity here as well,
right?
But majority are white, I think, and just a different type of culture than LA because I think LA has Hollywood and all these fucking actors and they care too much about their status and shit like that. So
right. And it
all
was
that
like
comes to play.
The thing too, LA was it was just hard to implement the mask thing. Like they were the government was saying one thing, but a lot of people were kind of practicing it as they needed to. Mm-hmm. Even businesses, it's like, well, I'm a store here, and that is my right to decide what I need for the store. Like if you were going to Glendale in the pandemic, with the Armenians, that shit was a party, man. Like they were hanging out, man. Like it was funny as hell to see that difference between there and then you go to Hollywood it's, everything's boarded up.
Yeah, boarded up. Yeah.
It's just like
this the 1 year anniversary of the George Floyd protest, or George Floyd actually passed away today.
Is that
1 year
right?
ago. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's crazy how time flies. Because that was big last year.
Yeah, man. That was around this time last year. We were 2 months into this worldwide pandemic, and I remember here there was protests for weeks.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible time. Like, I don't mean incredible and like cool, like, but it was, we really did that.
It was shocking in a way, like seeing everybody come together and just come over this one purpose.
Right. You hope that it wasn't like a one shot, because we're so cooped up. It's like, all right, well, like low key, you're kind of like, there's a reason to get outside. You know what I mean? Like there was a few people that were treating it like it was fucking Coachella or something.
Yeah.
I saw one lady get out of a car and she like hammered. She had a hammer. She went up to a board thing that was already boarded up. She was hitting it and just had her dude record it. Okay, we'll finish the video. She got back in her car and just drove away, dude.
Really?
It's like to see the clout chasers at these protests is like really, really funny.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, spreading information, it's a good thing. But of course, some people are going to be fucking losers about it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How did you feel like how did that stuff resonate where you were at in OC?
In OC, it was mostly the same. Like people went to protests, but there were also like Blue Lives Matter protests as well. Like they're also either side.
Yeah.
And this was back like that. It's also when Trump was in office, so there was a bunch of Trump supporters.
Right.
They're like, I know you probably heard in the news, like Huntington Beach had like protests for Trump, and
that's right.
So rallies and shit like that. So
dude,
it was a wild year last year. It was crazy.
That's some those counter protesters, the white people that are like, our America's going away.
Yeah,
please make it great again. Like,
I know.
Hey man,
like, just live your life, bro.
Yeah, y'all need to live your life. Either get better, because like keep excelling, because I don't know, or just fucking fall back. I don't know, just let it happen.
to me, like politics, like it makes no impact in my life whatsoever, because like I just don't care who's the president, like what's happening, because
right, man.
Yeah, if it's Republican or Democrat, and they're just like, they just do normally what every president does, like nothing's really changed drastically to the point where it's like a complete dictatorship of my rights or anything. So if that doesn't occur and I can just be free and do what I want, what's the point of picking a side? I'm not like a Democrat, Republican. Like I just let people think how they want to think, do what they want to do up to a certain point, right? There needs to be some laws and some regulation, but just let people express their thoughts freely and live their life how they want to live it. There's no point in telling somebody else to do something, or like to join them, to join this side, come on this side and be a Republican, Democrat, just because we believe it so much. It shouldn't be so on one side only. Like be in the middle, like think for yourself, come up with your own conclusions.
See, that's how it should be. But I think a lot of people need, politics is sports for nerds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great. Like it's just like, if you, like, I know people that are like, I'm on blue. Mm-hmm. I'm on blue and I'm fucking riding, but they're going painting their faces, going around.
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm on blue. I was like, okay, great. I know some people back home that are on red. And it's like, it doesn't, at the end of the day, I think you're right. Are you a decent person? And when you talk to somebody, do you show them respect and kindness and shit like that? I don't really subscribe one way or the other. I think it is like, it's funny to see people like really get emotional about it.
I know. Last year it was crazy because like the news difference from when Trump was in office to now is crazy. Like all they used to do was trash on Trump the whole like 24/7 every day. Whatever he's doing. I don't hear one word about Joe Biden. Not one word.
That's because
I don't hear anything.
They are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they know how to keep what they need to keep under wraps. Whereas Trump was like you remember Jordan in the 80s when he was just on these, he was getting like 40 a game, but it was like disorganized, messy, and it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
the team wasn't good.
The team just wasn't there. And like, not that Trump is savvy at all, but I think he knows how to manipulate media better than I'd say maybe a lot of people in the past, 100 years. Mm-hmm. Granted, he used that shit for a lot of evil, which is not good.
Yeah.
But he knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So, Biden and the Democrats, like they fucking, to me as a person of color, it's like you want to get shot in the face or stabbed in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we getting the wraparound right now, but it's all good. Like I wanted to look into. There was they signed some like bills, like an Asian hate crime.
Just
bill.
now?
Did you see that? Yeah, like a few days ago.
Not sure. What was it saying? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't even know, but that just seemed like one of those things where like it seems like a very Democrat thing to be like, well, we've signed a bill against hate. It's like,
like what the hell?
How the fuck is that going to change somebody who hates Asian people?
I know. That's not going to help.
Well, there's
anybody.
A bill now, so I better stop. Let me sell my guns.
Yeah.
Like,
is it even a law? Is it even?
What the
It's just
fuck?
a bill. Yeah.
It's just a bill. Just a Capitol bill, or Lonely on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, that video.
Yeah, but I agree with you, man. Like, people should be able to speak. I want to speak, but
yeah. My U.S. government teacher in high school said she's like a teacher, like AP U.S. teacher, right? And she said to us on the first day of class, all politicians are liars. Like that's what she started with. She started with that. She doesn't believe in any of them. Like whatever they say, like just believe that they're lying to you because that's what they do. Yeah,
that's funny. She's that
was like in a fucking like an AP class. She said that, so I was like, okay.
And she's like, I'm a liar. You all are liars. My ex-husband's a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's actually dope. That's a dope teacher to kind of just like teach freedom of thought.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, man. It's freedom of thought. And I think if you subscribe one way or the other, you are
limiting it. Yeah.
Freedom.
You're limiting yourself from thinking one way because both sides have decent ideas. Like they're not like perfect, but take it for what it is and try to, like, that's the thing about our government is they don't compromise whatsoever. Like they just focus on whoever, like, let's say the Republicans have this bill on gun laws and they don't want to have any gun laws basically. Right. So they're trying to stop gun laws, and the Democrats on the other hand want to increase the gun laws. And so both sides don't come to any sort of compromise. Like they don't say, okay, we should implement some of these laws and then these ones, okay, you guys can not have those laws. Mm-hmm. Instead, they just say no matter what and only stick to their side. How's anything gonna move forward?
Right. And I think, now you're getting into the interesting subject of like, has the two-party system failed us? It's become so bifurcated and so powerful on both sides that nothing is getting done. They're just butting heads in the middle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an interesting, like, actual solution to like restructuring government is like, how do we introduce new parties? Like, I know the Democratic Socialists are like kind of like a tangent
separate
off of,
yeah.
And like, I think that would be cool. There are a lot of European countries that have 4 or 5 parties that run.
Yeah,
and that's how you get a
different
real
ideas.
You get a true kind of representation of what the people think. Like you said,
that's why there's government in the first place. It's a representative government. But at this point, politicians, all they care about is money, and that's been like for hundreds of years, like ever since I think after George Washington died, everything went back to fucking greediness and
yeah. But yeah, I'm sure even Washington had to have been an asshole.
Yeah.
You don't become leader of the army by being a real noble dude. But yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, that's as far back as time. I was thinking about that, man. Genghis, yeah. Genghis.
The
like that
Mongolian
dude,
emperor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just committed, I think, like the earliest known like genocide, just like, but
millions, bro, millions of people.
Man. Have you heard the theory? There's some he raped and pillaged so many people that like there's like a 1 in 400,000 chance that you're like related to him.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
He was putting on numbers like crazy.
Just
man.
Himself.
That's what they say. That's what the internet has said.
God damn.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
1 in 400. And if you live in Asia, it's probably a higher chance.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Anyway, man, he never got down to India though.
Yeah, because of the Himalayas.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Saved our ass.
That's it. Yeah. Because, dude, imagine the technology. All they had, like the best technology at the point was them riding horses and bow and arrows. That's it. That's how they took over like everything, like from all of Russia, like to Europe. They took over everything with horses and arrows.
Oh my god! they had just been fucking the horses up until that point. They're like, wait a minute. These things are pretty fast.
I know. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm always interested in like learning about history and war because you get to see like how people react and different times. Like they fight over the stupidest shit that we think is stupid looking back. Like there have been salt wars on salt. Like who gives a fuck about salt? But back then that was like the most important thing. That was like a high commodity item is salt.
Who fought over salt?
I forget who it was, but
can't be some white countries.
Let me see.
They don't have salt.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere in Africa.
Yeah.
Let me see this shit.
Yo.
Who was in the Salt Wars?
The Salt Wars.
18. Says some. I think it says El Paso. I don't even know. Texas. Yeah.
In Texas. Okay.
I don't know what happened, but
they need it for the tequila, I guess.
Yeah, something.
Wow, man. Yeah, it is interesting because we think it's dumb, and then we look at like the war on science during the pandemic.
Yeah,
people are like, no, it's not real because I drive a Honda, and so the filtration system in the Honda actually is impervious to COVID-19. So. It's like, what the fuck? That was the craziest thing, is like how so many people became doctors.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. Like they just believed something. Dude. And also with Indian people, you probably know this, the WhatsApp group chats are insane. They're insane on how much false information. Like, dude. It's crazy. My dad, dad's
WhatsApp is lit up right now,
it's
dude.
Crazy. Yes. They get so doctors. Many, forwarded messages from like thousands of people forwarded this message to get to everybody. Yeah,
dude, it's wild, man. My dad's in a group chat with a bunch of doctors too, and even they're like, I don't know if it's real.
Really,
what, man? Oh, parking lots full of bodies right now. Like, what?
Yeah. Even in India right now, it's crazy. Like, don't you think
it's so interesting how like there was so much attention on the India situation like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And second the CDC said like the whole mask that you don't need it, blah, blah, blah. We're not even talking about international numbers anymore. Nothing. Like, it's like, all right, we good? Yeah. America first, right? We fucking good. Let's go, dude. Like, and it's just as bad in India as it's been. And there's like a cyclone that's going to hit in the Bengal. Like, it's going to displace a fuckload of people that have been told to quarantine. Like, what's going to happen with all that?
Yeah.
That's a really fascinating story, but
I know, because their infrastructure, first off, is not like ours. Like it's still a third world country, right?
Dude.
Like people and things don't move around as quickly as here. Like people do what they want, and that's it. Like they live their own traditional lifestyle that they've always lived, and like the masks, as they barely. I mean, now they wear masks, but up to that point, nobody gave a shit.
I mean, why would you? If you were like a lower income villager, why would you wear like you're surviving dengue fever, cholera,
you're used to this shit.
It's COVID, your lungs gets a little, what the fuck? That's why everyone that died, if you look at most of the people that died in Europe and here, overweight, pre-existing conditions, because they don't have to survive what people in India have to survive.
Yeah. That's what my dad said. He said, I'm immune because I was raised there. I was right.
Right, yo. It's like we survived the British. Okay, we'll be fine. COVID-19. Yeah. 19 is not even that old. What's it gonna do, man? I think what's interesting about India is like it's like the democracy of the East, right? And so you've seen like how capitalism now has affected. There's like an income disparity here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
In India, the same thing is happening, but it's just such a wider gap because you did have all those third world infrastructure in place.
Yeah. Like one person runs like a shit ton of the companies, like Mukesh Ambani. He's one of the richest people in the world. And he, like, I went to India in 2018 and the first thing like I got was a chip on my phone, right? Like a new chip for it to use their their like Verizon and shit.
Go or something like that.
It's called Geo, right?
Geo.
And their shit, that shit's run by the same company that he owns that company, and also like there's a bunch of other companies like oil companies. They all are interconnected, and he owns all that shit.
Man.
His house is actually in Mumbai, and it's like a building, like literally a 15-story building full of like cars and bowling alleys, basketball courts, swimming pools, like crazy.
Right. If a guy like that is taking that much, like how is any of this shit actually going to benefit the lower income people? And then the politicians, which are just corrupt. I mean, our politicians are corrupt. They are like openly corrupt.
For sure.
And it's like it's really, really interesting. Did you see that Billionaire Bad Boys thing on Netflix?
I think I've seen one of the episodes. There
was the one on the Kingfisher guy, Vijay Mallya. And like it's the same thing. He owns like billions of dollars. He had an airline company. He had like beer. He had all these, and just is broke now, I think. But like,
really, wow.
Like I don't know if they were even taxing him for like years.
Yeah.
So the government infrastructure is not there. It's
fucked because of, like you said, the British. Like they fucked it on purpose. Really, like they didn't give a fuck. They didn't like. I watched this one video on Vox, and it explained like this one guy. This British guy, once World War II ended, that's the only reason they couldn't hold India. It's because World War II basically fucked them up. They had no money.
Right.
And so they said, okay, we can't hold on to India. And they sent this one smart British guy to basically divide the like what is now Pakistan and India, and divide that line. And they say that he basically just drew a line.
He literally had no idea.
Drew just one line on a map, and that's the line. Like there's no like actual like he didn't actually like go there and see if this was a good fit for everybody. Like there's actually like a Hindu temple in Pakistan that people couldn't go to until now. Like they had to build a fenced kind of perimeter so that people from India can go to the temple. And they just did that like recently.
This is insane, man. Like classic white guy just phoning it in on a group project.
I know. It's crazy. And then
all you had to do was the bibliography, dude.
Yeah.
You couldn't even put that together. That has caused so much of the, like you said, the conflict and stuff like that. They're still fighting.
Yeah, they still hate each other.
Yeah, man.
And even though they were literally living together, like in harmony, less than 100 years ago.
You know, the British, there's an estimated $47 trillion in today's current value the British took from India.
Really?
47 trillion, bro.
Wow.
Like, I mean, you imagine where India could be thriving right now. Like you said, it was relatively peaceful before they got there. It's one of the sad things about just like colonialism in general. There's so many countries in Africa and India and Asia, so vibrant and so thriving on their own, and then white people come in and they're just like the most cool with killing people. Like, I don't know how they do it. Time and time again in recent history, white people, British, and then World War II happened because the Germans were trying to get on, and then the Russians were like, oh wait, we're like Cold War, and we're like, no, America, and then it's just
war has basically shaped how we live right now. Like,
it's entirely man.
Everything was shaped through wars. Like the reason the U.S. I think is the most powerful country is or the most powerful military is because they helped during the World War I and World War II. It's because they didn't really care about other countries up until that point. Like, we didn't have that much of a military.
That's right.
Up until that point, like, it was we have it good right here. We just we went through the Civil War, like literally 50 years before. We don't want any trouble. Right. We're just trying to stick together as a country. And then World War I, World War II happened, and everything changed. Now we have the biggest military in the world, and we help other countries, and that's changed everything.
And then help is like, what do we even do but supply? Well, that's when you say military, that's the key to all of that. Is when World War I happened, we had a lot of people that needed jobs, and all right, well, why don't you go to the factory and make guns? We're just going to manufacture, we're going to fund and supply this entire war on the Western democratic side. And that's how we became a superpower. Yeah. And that's our biggest export is military. So when you talk about how do we move forward and like, as a country, we got to drastically change our like brand. You know what I'm saying? Sure. It's like telling McDonald's to get rid of the Big Mac.
Yeah.
It's but anyway, that's really interesting that like that's a good way to kind of think about my question. Okay, so what do you think is like the next kind of frontier? Like if human to human military conflict is now over, what's the next kind of battle over, in your opinion?
Probably it's either space or most likely the internet. Like something controlling people, like social media. There's already conspiracy theories on whether Russia is or China, whoever really is causing this kind of like cancel culture or like anything that's disrupting like people coming together. Like that in recent years you've seen people in America having or growing more separate in ideas and sticking with that. And it's because the algorithms show only one portion of the story. Like on Google, if you type, let's say like gun related topics, right? If you live in a certain area, it's going to show you something different than what's in, say like in California, you're going to see something more, less about guns and more about like safety and shit like that. And if you live in the South, you're going to hear more about the use of guns, and that's dividing people because they're only seeing one side of the story. Right. And there's conspiracy theories saying that Russia and China have played an impact on this, and they're trying to influence people into basically causing like a civil war.
Interesting, bro.
So that's
no, I mean, there's something to that. And Is it, how many parts is it foreign influence and how many parts is it like media
media
exploitation of, because they are making a lot of money. Dude, I just watched that Vice movie about Dick Cheney, and I didn't know that it was a law up until the four. Don't cite me on the date, but up until very recently, it was in law that if you were a news corporation, you had to present both sides of a story. And they repealed that law, and then that's when Fox News came on, and then that's when we got CNN, and you add the technology to it, spread of information, till we get to now where it feels like constantly one side just trying to cancel the other.
Yeah.
And to your point, when we talk about foreign influence, I don't think anyone has done better in this pandemic than China.
Yeah.
They kicked our ass, man. Like, think about the craziest thing to see. The greatest example of this is to see a TikTok video on Instagram. It's literally a made in China insignia turned into the thing. It's just TikTok. They have all our information. We gave them all our info. We got all our likes, dislikes, all that shit. It's like that. I think is like very valid to say like
that's what we're losing really is all the data. Like I think I saw in a video this one guy said, if you're on the internet, you just know that you're being tracked and you have no privacy really.
Right.
Like right now, you have no privacy whatsoever because companies, big and small, are tracking you, getting some sort of data on you. And of course, people think like the government, like their cameras are spying on you. Right. That's always there. So who knows what's happening really, but and I don't even know why they need all this information. Like I'm not like in the statistics and shit like that, but they're always tracking you for something. And of course that data makes them money. And
you hit it right there. It's like, that's why they're tracking you. You're a product for them.
Yeah. Everything you do.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't really do nothing crazy. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you can track me. Yeah. Like, that's fine. Like, people are like, dude, vaccine, Bill Gates is going to track you with a chip. You're like, what? You spent 4 hours at a Bass Pro fishing shop. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. As long as the only reason, like, I personally got the vaccine is because I could do whatever I want. Like, people in society would allow me to be free. And if that's what I get, like to have more freedom and not wear masks and do whatever I want. Okay.
Bro, that's like that, like this, that's exactly it. I mean, the vaccine is like a huge revolution in like antiviral technology.
Yeah, science.
Injections. Crazy, dude. Like the fact that we can find a virus and attack it from mRNA versus like a dead version of the virus.
Yeah.
Is massive for like,
and that the fact that they did it in literally like 6 months, a year. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh my God. How is that not like, wow, we should really be celebrating that.
Yeah. And three of them. Johnson & Johnson.
That Johnson & Johnson one though. I mean, they kind of turned that one in late, but
they kind of fucked up.
Yeah, dude. It was like the guy drawing the borders in in India. Just whatever, fuck, we got it done.
Yeah.
No, but it's an incredible thing, man. Just absolutely amazing, and it's I'd say get the vaccine. If you're eating hot dogs, get the vaccine. You're already you're sick. You're sickly. Yeah.
You already got something.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, you got something. That's right. That's right. You already got something. But yeah, dude, it is interesting to see like how we get splintered off. Maybe there will be more of a return to the middle. The question is like who or what is going to speak to that, and be like kind of a
nobody good wants to be president because they know it's like it's just a shitty job. It's a shitty like you're under pressure all the time. People don't like you always. Like there's always gonna be haters and things of that nature. So whoever does come into office, like next, Joe Biden definitely is not gonna come in next, but whoever does, I hope they do bring change because that's what we really want is for people to look at both sides and have some kind of camaraderie.
Yeah,
that's
some
the
sort of
biggest
balance.
thing.
Yeah, balance would be good. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man.
Yeah, so I want to talk about like Dave Chappelle real quick. Like I know he's you probably know him, one of the greatest comedians of all time in my opinion.
He's my favorite comedian. He's the GOAT to me.
Yeah, same for me too. Like when I watched Killing Him Softly on YouTube for the first time, I saw that and I had to watch it a second time the day later. That's how funny it was, and that's how much I enjoyed it. Was
so quotable. That's special. Like the whole.
He's so funny,
man. What was it? Baby on the Corner story.
Yeah, Baby on the Corner selling weed.
What? That's an insane, dude. The fact that special came out 21 years ago, and you and I can sit here and quote it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the best, man.
Shows his greatness and how he tied it all up at the end. With the baby. Yeah. That's how great he is. Like every special he has something like that where he talks about something and at the end he ties it back into one full story. And
that's the callback. That's the beauty of the callback.
Yeah.
That's man. Yeah, he's a go. Yeah, what you want to talk about?
Like you probably heard about what happened with Chappelle show, right? Like how he got his money back and shit. So that's like that just shows like how much he had to deal with. Like you probably saw the I think what is the Redemption something kind of special on Netflix.
He's explaining it.
Yeah, he's explaining it. Like that shit rarely happens in the entertainment industry where you get your money back from all the work you've done. And you could see that it took a toll on him personally. Like you look at the special he was in 2000, I think 2000, he was like a skinny guy and then like looked happy and everything. But then after that, like after he came back from Africa and shit, like he was just different. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he took in a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
In that time, like, definitely aged him.
Yeah, for sure.
Seems like it. But yeah, man, it's a great thing to see that it can go the other way. Again, you just hope that these aren't one-offs and that it's like setting a new trend, you know, because I know a lot of comedians you do a lot of work for free before you get the opportunity to get paid. And so, you know, is that kind of treatment going to be reserved for like literally the greatest of all time? Or does it mean an actual change for everybody?
Yeah, because right now, even in the music industry, it's similar where the artists don't get what, I mean, I don't know exactly how much they get or the exact numbers or anything, but it seems like they're not getting their fair share. And a lot of people are complaining about that. Like they don't get to own their own songs and own albums. So there needs to be some kind of change because they're the ones who are creating it. You know, like that's the biggest part is the creation, what you do after the distribution.
Right.
That shouldn't matter as much, or you shouldn't have that much control over after that.
Right. Yeah, it sucks. It's a real bummer.
I know you play. You're into music, right? You play a little.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've been doing mostly music during pandemic.
When did that all start? Like,
there's a similar thing. Like with stand up, like went away, and I don't know where I saw this Mark Rebier video somebody sent me. And it was like a few days before pandemic. And I'd be like, man, this is cool. This is really cool. But I had like, you know, like shows and shit to think about. And then it went away. And then I came back upon that video. And I was like, I'm going to learn I'm going to buy this machine. And I'm going to just try to learn.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing, like literally my everything has been taken away from me.
Yeah.
And it's been great, man. Like I started in music when I was little and I just went to college for it. And then to kind of find a way for it to come back and combine it with comedy. That's been super fucking cool, man. Like, yeah, it's
yeah. I think I've listened to a few of the songs. Like, you have your what's the thing that you call where you like sample different things?
Yeah, it's a loop station. It's a Boss RC 505 loop station.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make some crazy shit with that.
Man, it's an incredible machine. Like that's the craziest thing too, is just like the technology you're able to use to, like, you know, I have all these sounds in my computer, and then I can summon them at literally click of a button, and then I have the keyboard that I can do all this other shit on. I can sing and loop it all together and have it be playing at once. Like, it's really, really, it's like a crazy, talk about like alchemy. Like, that shit is crazy. Yeah. It's fun, man. Yeah, just trying to have fun with it too. You know, it's a big part.
And you play an instrument too, right? Or do you play multiple instruments?
Yeah, saxophone. I play saxophone primarily. Yep. And then piano, bass, and drums. I do those live too on the little keyboard.
Oh yeah.
That I have there.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I was kind of into instruments as a kid. Like, I had a guitar. Yeah. But I never and a piano. I used to play piano, but I never really like got into it that much because I was more into sports and like played basketball, man, and shit like that. So
me too, bro. Yeah, me too. Those I thought I was gonna be. There's that point in everyone's life where you have to really look in the mirror and be like, all right, I'm not gonna be in the NBA. Huh? I really thought probably up until 14, 15. I was like, I know about it. I got it. So I feel you, man. Yeah. I feel you. Like, but the interesting thing with music, like that kind of, we talk about that 10,000 hours, 20 years thing, like that. I remember doing it as a kid. I didn't really like it, but like my parents was, you know, I just went and like, I was all right at it. And then I went to college for jazz saxophone, and I dropped out because it just, there's a lot of personal shit going on. I think there's a lot of big ego death that happened with me too that year that I needed. But so I transferred colleges and I was playing again. And I had this jazz professor, Gary Motley, super dope piano player from New Orleans. And we were like, up until then, music had been like a sport to me. Yeah. I had thought about it like that. Like, it was about the mechanics and having the best like solo or whatever. And then like doing competitions, getting accolades. It was like that. And then I remember we were in this rehearsal and he like took our music away. He's like, all right, everybody, let's just think of the color purple. And then he just played like this fucking juicy ass chord, man. Really? And just taking all of the mechanics out of it, it just kind of finally, and that had been after a decade of playing with that approach of like, how do I just learn? Yeah. It was the first time I really felt like I was like, oh, this is what like music is. Yeah. You know,
after all that time.
Yeah, the mysterious shit where you let go of all the mechanics and everything. So that's kind of how I'm trying to approach comedy. And this, it's like, you got to give yourself a lot of time and be patient with yourself and consistent. Yeah. In order to really kind of get to that point where you're like, oh shit, I'm just expressing myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Do you listen to any like specific type of music or anything really?
I've been listening to a little bit more like stylistics type, like kind of like R&B as of late. I was really into Michael Kiwanuka. He's like he's a British vocalist.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible, but I sadly listen to a lot of jazz. Like it's not like it. Yeah, like nobody my age likes listening to jazz. Like it's and I get it. It's like really if you come at it knowing it from like elevators, like you're not gonna like it. Yeah. You know, or like if you know it from like Kenny G, it's like you're not gonna like jazz. So I listen to a lot of that. Hip hop, obviously. I mean, that's like pop now, right? Yeah. So you kind of gotta listen to that.
The biggest genre
out. Yeah, I've been trying to just go back and listen to albums. Like I've been going through and listening to all of Mac DeMarco's albums. And just trying to like figure out and really be like active listening, coming back to it. Like how do they get their sound and like what makes them kind of distinct, and trying to kind of take it in and analyze.
I've been doing that with the Kanye West albums.
Oh man,
just going.
You can never not.
I just listen to it just for the beat, for the his samples and everything. I try to dissect where he took that from. Yeah. And then he makes it into this loop, and it's crazy. Dude, how he produces.
Oh my God. Have you heard that Dissect podcast?
I think so. Yeah.
They do a good job. I think they did one on 808s. I could be wrong, but yeah, dude, like that, it's spectacular. I know. Like that, I was just listening to Yeezus the other day. Like that album is fucking crazy, dude.
Hold My Liquor, that, like the vocals on that, dude, insane.
It's so moody. Yeah. Like it's so moody, man. And yeah, he's one of the best, man. Like I don't care like what,
it doesn't matter, like whatever he's doing or says, like he makes really, really good music.
That art will stand on its own. Like for usually, like I'll show my kids like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and be like, well, yeah, when I was in high school, I used to listen to this, and then it's like show them the Monster Verses, and they're like, this is so stupid. You know. But yeah, man, Kanye, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong, man. Oh, you know, it's a really good, like Jay-Z's 444.
Yeah, I listened to that good, as well. Man. Smile, I love that song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude, the sampling and shit is very cool, and that's what I enjoy that about this loop thing. Is like I in the beginning of doing it, I was sampling a lot of just like viral like videos, and you just playing off my phone and then loop it, and then you just try to make a beat. And it's fucking yeah, man. It's
just different ways of looking at it. You take one idea and you get to shape it into something that you think is better, or however you think of it, right?
Yes, man.
Yeah, that's the best part of creativity, especially now. Like you said, the technology has gotten to a point where anybody can create. Like you don't need have a studio, like go to a studio that costs like $400 an hour to like go and make beats. Like you could just do it with a software program, or
for sure,
buy something that's small with some money that you saved up. You could start making beats with just that, right?
Dude, I was lucky too. I just used my stimulus check. I was lucky enough, like I didn't need it for like food or anything. So I just use that shit. Yeah, you know, for
just
sure.
Get it.
Man, yeah, it is crazy. Like the bar to enter. Like I feel like lacrosse is like a really hard sport for people to get into because it's so expensive.
Really,
you just can't, you know. And I feel like music used to be like that, but now it's starting to become a little more accessible for
everybody.
Everybody, which is really cool.
Yeah, you see a bunch of artists, like, of course, they're like people that shouldn't get into music. They use like way too much auto-tune on their voice. And,
of course, man.
And the SoundCloud rappers and shit
God
like
bless
that.
them, dude.
Yeah. At least they're trying, but
that's man. You gotta give them the freedom to do what you want to do. Yeah. You go for it. You gotta go for it.
Yeah. Should we wrap this up here? I think.
Sure, man. I want to know, since you're a hoops fan, what do you got on this Lakers Suns series?
I'm a Laker guy throughout, but so I'm rooting for the Lakers.
Were you worried watching game one?
I know they'll come back harder because AD, he actually, like, he didn't play to his fullest potential. Like, he was off that day, like, completely. Yeah. So
he looked a little clunky, no doubt.
Yeah. So I think if everybody's healthy, right, like that's the main part. Is LeBron had a injury he was coming off of. If they don't get injured again, and I think they looked at the footage and what went wrong. This game, I think it's today, right? They're playing game 2 today at like, I think 7. Hour. Yeah, an hour. Yeah. And so if I'm hoping for the best from the Lakers, but then again, the Suns and Devin Booker, Chris Paul, that duo is like deadly, you know, that shit.
Devin Booker, really, I didn't know he was going to have that big of an impact as like he really looked like it's his first playoffs.
Yeah, first
you
playoffs.
Kind of never know, like, is he gonna maybe not be able to ride? Like he looked really, really good. I think you're right. I think AD is probably gonna get like 35, 40 tonight.
Yeah,
that's my guess. Is he gonna try out? What I don't understand is why they keep playing Andre Drummond like so many minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't seem like it's working, man.
Yeah, they're trying to make it work, but it's
like if you got LeBron, you need space so he can do his go all the way down, driving shit. I don't know why they don't have Gasol in more, but
yeah. I know they do have Gasol, and he's a better passer too. Like he facilitates everything.
Just smarter player. I mean, maybe defensively he's more of a liability, but like, who do the Suns have as a big other than Ayton that's gonna like really hurt them? I don't know. They're smarter. Obviously, they have the jobs, but I was just watching and be like, man, Trump's played like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. We'll see what happens in game 2. Like this game, I think will dictate everything else. Like
how the rest of the series is gonna go.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
Yeah, if they don't come out and like at least affect the Suns in a way like where they're really in the game, and of course, if they win, that's a big plus as well. But yeah, I'm rooting for the Lakers day in, day out. You know, I've always been a Lakers fan. Since Kobe. Like I think I was like 5 years old when I first watched like a Kobe game with my family, and after that I was hooked on basketball and Kobe and Lakers and everything.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
that's so beautiful.
That was my whole life right there.
Sick, man. Sick. Well, Shyam, it was a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you for
meeting you, and
thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Anything you want to plug here at the end? Oh
yeah, man. Check out the Papaya 9 Not News podcast.
Yes, sir.
Posting clips every day, man. You know, we got episodes out every week. Yep. Right now, we got an episode coming out with Malcolm Hatchett. It was a really good comic from Kill Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And check out my Instagram, Neel.Ghosh / my YouTube.
I'll link it in the description.
My man.
Yep.
Sweet. But man, just find me on the internet and or not, whatever. Live your life. That's the one.
Yes, sir. Freedom. Freedom. Yeah. America.
All
right. Peace, everybody.
Later.